Hi friends, welcome to Chess Lessons for Beginners. So today I'm going to start a series of videos uh, where a beginner level player can improve their game and show some tips to hit their opponents, and they can even beat some higher rated opponents. Like I'm targeting the 1600, 1700, or 1800 players, so that they can even beat some 2200 players using these tricks. And these tricks are better suited for the quick games, because if over the board, like maybe your opponents will get some time to resolve or think over the board, and they can easily beat you with some good strategies. And these are opening tricks, and in the middle game you still have to play, and you still have to achieve your win. So before I start the tricks, I'll just show you one interesting video which will be from the Paul Murphy game, and it's in the 90s, where Paul Murphy was playing with a white, and he defeated his opponent through a brilliant queen sacrifice, and in very few moves. And I believe like most of you have already seen it. So my intent of that video is like, first I'll show you that game, and then I'll show you like how there are some variations of it, and I'll show you one variations for black, and I'll show you like couple of variations for white, so that I believe both will help the beginner level players. So we'll start with the video. So Paul Murphy was white in that game, and he started with e4, and his opponent played b6. Murphy went for d4, bishop to b7, d3, f5. So it was a horrible blunder from Murphy's opponent, and Murphy immediately captured that pawn. E cross f5, and bishop cross g2, looking for the rook which gets stuck in the corner. So Murphy ignored that, and he went to queen h5 check. Only move left is like g6 and f cross g6. Then his opponent challenged queen like knight f6. So it's actually force mate in 2. So g cross h7, knight cross h5, and bishop to g6. So it's a force checkmate, and so this is so you will wonder why I'm showing this. So there is a modern variation exists for this move, and so with a slight variation where black can gain some tempo over the white. So if you're playing for a black pieces, and you can try against your opponent if he was like hoping that you're playing a pomorphic game. So the move orders are pretty much same. So like your opponent played e4, then you played b6, your opponent played d4, you played bishop to b7, and your opponent played d3, and you are going to play f5, and your opponent was hoping that I'm getting a duplicate version of Murphy game. Yes, indeed, you're going to give him that hope. So you're going to he's going to capture your f5 pawn, and you are going to capture this bishop bishop cross g2. You're going to play this move so that your opponent will hope that I'm getting a duplicate version of Murphy game. Yes, you're going to give in some variation, some moves. So queen to q5, queen to h5, then g6, and your opponent is going to capture. So here, instead of playing the knight to b6, immediately. So you're going to play with bishop to b6, a slow and calming move, so that your pawn won't be advanced. So your opponent will think that, hey, what's about it? It's kind of a same game like which I had previously. So what is the one I'm in it? So your opponent is going to capture the h7 pawn. So captured with check, but there is a move exists for the king, like king to f8. Now if you look at the position, like you don't have any further checks exist in the system. You don't have any further checks in the system, so you have to move. So you have to move. The only position where you can do a check is like pawn cross g8, and you can make a queen, and the king is going to capture this. Then you can attack his king using a bishop, like if wanted, but your opponent can resolve it like e6, and there is no further check for the king with queen or some any other. So so what next you will do, you will have to challenge this bishop. In case if he's going to play any other move, you can capture the bishop. Else what will happen is your queen is in the line of the rook, so you definitely have to move. So you played this, so bishop is going to capture the rook. So if you count the pieces like so the player 2, you can see that the queen, but queen is actually a pawn, so two pawns and a rook. So if you count the pieces from the white perspective, white lost two pawns and a rook, but black lost three pawns and a knight. So for a rook against a rook, white gains a knight and a pawn, which is a good, like if you count the materials, black is more than equal, and black can easily equalize the game through rapid developments, and he can try to attack, and he can even win the game. Okay, so black is not any loser here, so black is actually equal. Okay, that's it. The approach which you have to take if somebody played a morphy game against you when you are playing as a black. So coming back, so for situation, if you are playing as white, and if somebody played this trick as a black player against you, when you are playing as white, you got this same trick, then what you have to do is you know how to resolve it, and there are like to this modern variation there are a couple of moves which I'll show you: e4, b6, d4, bishop to b7, and bishop to d3, ef5. You're going to capture like e cross f, bishop to g2, queen to h5, and pawn to g6, f cross g6, and bishop to g7. So then you're going to give this check, g cross h7, so king to f8. So from here, what you're going to do is you're going to play a knight f5. So the reason is you can move your rook to white rook to g1, so that rook will occupy in the open g file, so that and it will get a it is not stuck in the corner, and if black didn't capture this, then rook can move. So for immediately the black can capture the rook. So if black captures the rook, then then it's actually lost position for white. I'll show you how. Then knight to f5. So this creates a immediate checkmate threat in f7. So if q to f7 with the knight support, then it's a checkmate. So black has a way to defend this. It's q to e8 or knight to knight to h6, but knight to h6 can be met with bishop cross h6, so it's not a good move. So q to e8 is a move, but here you have a legal check like knight to g6 check. So king has to move, then you are going to capture this. Then king again has to move, and if king comes out, then it's going to be a soon checkmate. So if you come here, it's a check. You have to come here, only one move. It's a check. Wait. So this is a lost position for black. So I'll show you one more thing. So if you defended with the knight, so he defended this position, then also like you can capture this immediately. So in case if black g captures, then it's a checkmate. So anyways, like white have to play the q into e8. So that is one approach. So anyways, okay, bishop to g6. So I'm going to show another variation. So here, if bishop captures this, then no need to mention. So it's a gone case. Like you're going to capture and you're going to give a check. If knight blocks, then also you're going to capture the rook. Or if bishop, so the better thing is like knight cross, because otherwise the pawn is going to capture the knight. So q cross a rook, or if bishop cross, then also the same move will happen. And if king moves, then also this can happen, or like you can even capture this knight and do an equalizing position. So the better move will be knight cross this, and you're going to capture the rook. So now you think like white lost one pawn and a knight, but look at the black's position and black's pieces. Like they lost a rook, a bishop, and three pawns. So no need to mention this is the lost position for black. Then the other one is like instead of taking any pieces, like black can immediately counter the queen, like knight to f6. So queen has to play in g6. Then if any other move has been played, then queen will capture the bishop. So he has to capture any of the pieces. So if he captured this, Then again knight to f5. So checkmate threat. Sorry. Instead, he's going to challenge his bishop. So if bishop captures, then queen here. Then if king goes to e8, then it will be a checkmate. So king has to move here. Instead, king has to move to f8. Then it will be an open game for. So the king has to come here. Otherwise, it will be a family fork. Like if king moves here, then it will be a family fork. Then king comes here. Check. So no need to mention, like it's a lost position for. So anyways, like or knight can gain a tempo by playing this, like, or you can even go for the win. uh so queen has to move anywhere, like somewhere wrong, then you can move your uh or you can attack the king. If king moves, then you can play castle so that your bishop will be attacked and it has to move. Then you gain a tempo and you can play different moves. So that's another move to mention. So these are like this is one variation. So I'll just come back to the different positions. So no need to mention like black is lost here. So here if you move here and if you take this, then if the bishop throws the knight instead of the rook, then you're going to challenge a checkmate threat by giving this position. Sorry, you are going to challenge with g1. That's better one. So you're going to give a checkmate threat, then it has to be defended, so you cannot play g8 and defend. So what you have to play, you have to cross rook cross h7, because rook is protected with knight, then you can defend it. But then you're going to reinforce the checkmate threat by playing h8. So now the one thread now is like simply you can play this like q to g3, so that you're going to capture this bishop, and the rook has been like unleashed to the bishop attack. So what you have to do is like you have to play the move like bishop to e4 and blocking the bishop diagonal, and also it was protected with the knight in his hand. So white will capture and black has to recapture, and then queen to f3 check. So This is a deadly check because it was forking king and knight. Moreover, if knight moves, then it's a skewer to the black rook on the a8. So, so for example, if knight moves, then king is gonna capture the rook in the corner. So if you count the number of pieces, then white is a pawn and an exchange up, and there are like an open file for the rook, and black and like white can easily win the game if he plays it correctly. Black white is on the driving seat. Okay, these are the tricks which can be applied in the game, like if you're playing as white and if you're playing as black. So thanks everyone, thanks for watching. And if you want to know, or if you want to view the continuous video on the rest of the tricks, then you can please like and subscribe. This is just a passion channel which I created for my interest in the chess. Like I'll try to come up with new videos for your interest. Thank you.